going to be a busy day for Gauteng education. Off the back of this worrying story, the department is expected to visit a school in Sebokeng today. It follows the murder of a grade 10 pupil who was stabbed by a fellow pupil last Thursday. The student was rushed to hospital, but unfortunately was declared dead on arrival. It's the second stabbing at the school, so let's head there now and find out what Pule Letshwiti-Jones has for us. And Steve Mabona with you, I understand. Pule, good morning. It's a tragedy that has to be investigated. We cannot continue like this at our country's schools.
Definitely, it's a pattern of criminal elements that cannot continue like this. In fact, we now understand that just last week there was actually 3 stabbing incidences that took place in various schools, especially in Mamelodi as well, at the Solomon Mahlangu Freedom High School. We also know of one school where a stabbing incident took place at the Ikusasaletu Secondary School in Johannesburg, and then also here in Sebokeng with Dinokaneng School, where we know that here at least one student was actually stabbed to death, and while the other one is still recovering in hospital. We now understand this is as a result of the gangsterism in this community that is now pouring into the schools here. Of course, this is an issue of a safety concern as well. But joining me right now to unpack more about the story is Steve Mabona, speaking to us this morning. Thank you very much for making time for us, Steve. Now, obviously, this is quite a huge concern for the school. Just about a few weeks ago, we were in Geluksdal, in Brakpan. I remember even last year we were in Kalaboche, in Vlakfontein, and now we're here. This is really something that's getting out of control, or out of hand rather.
Indeed, we must really concede that the situation is dire now. We really need the law enforcement agencies to work with us, make sure that our learners are safe at all times. But also members of the community, we need to work together and make sure that we decrease the level of violence that we see in our communities. Because what happens in our communities, it then spiral and come to our schools. But to a certain extent, if learners are outside our school environment, they have their own fights there and bring them at our schools, it becomes really a challenge for us as a department. But we will continue to work with our sister department, the Community of Safety, just to make sure that there's a level of security in our environment.
When you speak about, pragmatic measures as well, being practical as to how you will ensure the safety, what are some of the measures you guys now have at the Department of Gauteng Education? I mean, clearly, when you're sitting around the table, this is one element that has to be robustly discussed as to how you're going to resolve the issue of violence in schools.
Indeed, the partnership with our sister departments and the law enforcement agents is quite key. There's no strategy that will implement outside our stakeholders, because it's not an education challenge now. This is a societal matter, and which needs all of us to work together. Hence, we are actually hopeful that the 6,000 wardens that are being trained currently, they will be spread across in different wards, but we will want to be prioritized as schools. I mean, where there are schools, they must be patrolling, because their response time, we are assured that it will be quicker, because they will be linked to all other law enforcement agencies. So that, I think, it will assist us as a department.
Are you losing the fight against gangsterism, which is manifesting in most of these schools? I mean, this is a similar situation as what unfolded in Brakpan recently.
Indeed, I mean, the gangsterism is a challenge, but we will not stop, we will not get tired to invoke all the strategies that we have. You know that we will have programs where we identify those that are, bullies, those that are belonging into gangs, take them through the process, enhance them with knowledge, take them to a certain extent to the correctional services, show them there how people who, sometimes they don't obey the laws, they end up, and unleash all those programs that we have, which we will continue. We can't get tired, because if we get tired, then we will be in a serious challenge.
The MEC is expected to arrive at the school. What are some of the things you will be discussing with the school? Is there a way forward? Will we be seeing, security being, a bit beefed up here at the gates, and ensuring that no pupil comes in here with weapons?
No, definitely. You know that we will normally assure that the search and seizure, by the police, it will not be announced. To a certain extent, they will be given an opportunity to come here. So that's why MEC is coming to interact with the school management, just to understand on what transpired, and probably get to understand on the family, where they are, and just to convey our condolences, because that's what we will normally do. So that's why MEC is coming here, just to convey his condolences, but also to check on any other thing that we need to beef up in terms of the safety of our learners.
Mabona, thank you very much. Of course, that's the Gauteng education spokesperson speaking to us this morning, Steve Mabona.
All right, Pule Letshwiti-Jones, thank you very much to you indeed. We'll continue to keep an eye on that school. Very worrying to have seen a second stabbing. Now 3 incidents in total at the school, as we hear from Pule Letshwiti-Jones and Steve Mabona as well. We'll check in with the team again later this morning. We are